Woke up late, charts on fire, red and green like a funeral pyre. Discord screaming LFG, but my portfolio's haunting me. Spiked my coffee with regret. Last night I longed to break out bet. Now I'm broke, not broken yet. Just one more pump I won't forget. Buy high, die huddling. The 10 brain dopamine's controlling. Ride the whale or get wrecked clean. This crypto dream's a guillotine. Fake guru with 1,000 subs showed me coins in shitty clubs. Promised moons, Lambos and jets. Now I'm left with JPEGs and debts. Scalped my soul in a 5-minute chart. Market dumped and it ripped my heart. But I'll reload, I'll play to win, even if I lose it all again. Buy high, die huddling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. Almost God, greed's the king. This crypto dream's a punk rock thing. In the glass, risk it all, no brakes, full gas. Liquidation, call me sweet. Whisper welcome to defeat. No stop loss, no regrets. Code and chaos, no safety nets. Satoshi's ghost in my DMs told me to ape again and again. Buy high, die huddling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. If I crash, at least I tried. In this wild west of blockchain rights. I'll be trading till the lights go out. Charts are noise, but I live for the sound. One candle spike, and I'm back in town. Crypto's a fight, and I'm 10 toes down. Diamond hands with the crack in the glass. Risk it all, no brakes, full gas. But I'll reload, I play to win, even if I lose it all again. Woke up late, charts on fire, red and green like a funeral pyre. Discord screaming LFG, but my portfolio's haunting me. Spiked my coffee with regret. Last night I longed to break out bet. Now I'm broke, not broken yet. Just one more pump I won't forget. Buy high, die huddling. The 10 brain dopamine's controlling. Ride the whale or get wrecked clean. This crypto dream's a guillotine. Fake guru with 1,000 subs showed me coins in shitty clubs. Promised moons, Lambos and jets. Now I'm left with JPEGs and debts. Scalped my soul in a 5-minute chart. Market dumped and it ripped my heart. But I'll reload, I'll play to win, even if I lose it all again. Buy high, die huddling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. Almost God, greed's the king. This crypto dream's a punk rock thing. Diamond hands with the crack in the glass. Risk it all, no brakes, full gas. Liquidation, call me sweet. Whisper welcome to defeat. No stop loss, no regrets. Code and chaos, no safety nets. Satoshi's ghost in my DMs told me to ape again and again. Buy high, die huddling. Gas fees burn, but
Good morning, guys. How's it going? Let me just check the audio. Make sure everything's working. All right, perfect. How you guys doing? Do you have an awesome weekend? I played D&D with Sterling this weekend. Like the big nerd that I am, but it was a lot of fun. We got Coma. How you doing, man? We got Brett, Manny Boy, Sterling, Noah, Grayson, Pop, Scene. How you doing? DJ, Diamond Palm. Big cheers. Josh, how you doing, bro? Andrew, Axel, Dopey Bull from the Otter Gang. How you doing, man? All right. So Bitcoin right now is at an area of interest for shorts potentially, and I'll show you why. So here, this is an area of interest for shorts. We've been basically hitting our head off this valley area high. This valley area high comes from the range that we've been in for about 50 days now. We were ranging for 50 days and we broke out, and we started to get that acceptance back inside the valley area. So we're at a pretty important moment. If you look at this on the daily, structurally, it seems like we're coming down, getting acceptance into the valley area. So this is a big moment. We need to see if we're going to finally break back up here to start coming after this high here that we generated an SFP off of. So this is going to help dictate whether or not we're going to come down and hit that SFP target. So we're going to use like lower time frame structure to help define the rejection off this valley area. So yeah, this is the valley area here that we're kind of fighting against. Right, we've been range bound here for about 50 days. Came back inside of it. So the range in total has been around 57 days. So either we're going to find out if this volume shelf test is just to help us springboard our way out into a trend-based move, or if this SFP was the answer and we're going to try to use this lower time frame posture to define like a late entry basically. So here on the 15-minute time frame, this is where we're currently at, is that 50-day valley area high that we're just talking about. We have a 30-minute and 15-minute order block here. You could see it clearly on the 15-minute. We got the doji reaction off of the VWAP test, and then we had the engulfing response from that candle generating an order block structure, warning us that there could be residual sell orders in this area, right? And we're starting to see that kind of reaction now. So there's that confluence, the valley area high. We've got the 50-day EMA here. We've got the order blocks here that were just mitigated and already causing a reaction now. So all I'm lacking, honestly, is the positioning's already there, is just the bearish change of character for me to trust the drop. I don't like knife catching as a trader. I like to see market structure agreeing with me and giving me that bearish change of character. We already got the proper pullback, so all we really need now, if I delete this, is just the higher high, and then a break of that newly formed strong low. So we haven't had a proper pullback during this entire run up, so we can't get our change of character until this breaks here, and we're obviously not going to take that as the short, right? We want to see the proper higher high taken and then the low taken, so we can evolve this structure to give us more confidence for our short setup. And then we can use the strong high as our stop loss guard. We also have the confluence of Fibonacci. If you pull from this high to this low, our golden pocket 786 levels here as well. I can pull it up just so you can see. So yeah, we've already kind of mitigated the golden pocket. We broke right through that. We could come up, get our higher high test off of the 786, and then get our change of character for more additional confidence for our setup. We'll see what happens. If we end up getting like that break of structure and we just end up finally breaking this high here, then we're more likely to just run up towards our next key area of interest at 93,680. So if I zoom out on that, so you can see where it came from. We had this 2-day valley area right here before we dip back down into the macro valley area. So we have our point of control there, and we got order block here and supply issues here, some liquidity. The end of this regression trend is also there, which is the technical target when these usually break, is that regression trend peak. And we were aiming for it before, right? But then we had like a bearish reaction here for an exit plan, and then we had the alternative, like a lower time frame reaction here against the value area high again, acting as resistance here. So at that point, after we swept it the second time around, I stopped targeting that area, but it's still a key area of interest for shorts or for targeting if anyone who's in an existing long position. Like I'm not currently in a trade right now, but we did have that bullish change of character during this moment here. So there's a reason to enter, but the stop loss guard was kind of steep for anyone who might have taken it. If we do return back down here, let's say we get our setup and we do our short, then we just got to watch a couple barriers along the way. We got the VWAP here, which hopefully by the time we confirm, maybe the VWAP will be positioned by our key level, around our key level, so we can use the break of the VWAP in confluence with our structural change character. But that kind of all depends on how slow we go range bound here for allow it to have time to like kind of catch up to the price action. But it would be nice to have that kind of confluence so we can have VWAP on our side immediately after entering. And then we just got to watch this as a potential area of interest. We got our 15-minute orb high here at 91K, and we got a 30-minute order block right here at 90,620 that we'll have to watch for opposing structural warnings for to tell us to take some off the table or to close our trade early. But taking any shorts, of course, you want to watch any other key levels to help you evolve your technical target. And we have this one right here at 89,750. That if we broke past that and use it as resistance, we'd extend our target of this short to the 50-day point of control at 87,630, where there's a decent amount of liquidity like stacked throughout this area from this order flow that we've got going on here. So that's what I'm kind of preparing for. I'm hopeful for the short scenario because I don't want too long into this pump, right? Instead, I'd rather sit on my hands and wait for opposing structure to give us more of a contrarian setup. Alrighty, so that's what I'm preparing for with Bitcoin today. Let's see what we got going on the chat. Got Wayne. What's up, man? Is there any questions about Bitcoin before we look at something else? Crickets, my friends. Okay. All right, you guys are welcome to ask questions throughout the thing. I'm going to take a look at Ethereum to see how Ethereum's doing during all this. We got Bitcoin dominance looking a little balanced today. UST dominance going down. Total 3 going up a little. So it's kind of the dominance structures or percentage dials are basically telling me that most of the funds are flowing out of USDT right now and mostly being focused into the total 3. So I'm going to take a look at Ethereum. Let's see how we're starting to break right through our area of interest here. Got a 15-minute order block that we just tapped into in the stealing of our zone. Let's look at the 5-minute structure. So we get the posture now for a bearish change of character if we broke this as a key level. But this is looking, we got decent momentum so far. So We might not get our setup here. If anything, that it could generate us a better risk to reward ratio setup if we're still looking for shorts. But the positioning, as it evolves and changes, will also evolve and change what barriers we would have to watch if we took a short. Because we were hoping, now if we get the bearish change character here, breaking that, we wouldn't have to worry about the value area high acting as a barrier. We don't have to worry about the 50-day EMA acting as support. But now we're getting some deviation confluence from the VWAP right now for shorts. Let's go back to Ethereum. See what we got. So we were looking for rejection off of our key areas here last time we were looking at Ethereum. It looks like we just barely tapped it and came down. We had a kind of an Adam and Eve posture when we had that rejection. An Adam and Eve is basically just a double top that has like a spike of volume and then a rounded top. And the technical target is the exact same. All right, so yeah, Ethereum, we have this uptrending momentum here that's been holding us up since it's evolving momentum. So $2,775 on December 18th. That's when that evolving momentum began. We breached through it a little bit, only to tap our buy zone, our demand zone here, and then have a violent reaction off of it so far. We had that bullish change of character like here internally. And now we're starting to run up. We just mitigate this supply risk here. We have a 30-minute order block, a supply barrier. So our next area of interest is actually right here for shorts. We have a 30-minute order block again. And it's our, we might have some confluence as well with Fibonacci pulling from the high to the low. 786 and 886. I'll mark this up here for you guys so you can see a little more clearly. All right, so if we don't get a reaction off of this level, then we're still looking at the unmitigated supply and order block right here that begins at 3,167. So at that level, we'd have the 50-day value area high here, and we have that supply that's been unmitigated in the 15-minute order block. So 3 forms of confluence here at least to define a good key level to prepare for shorts again, to bring us back down to our uptrending momentum is where I would be targeting, while being very mindful of that 50-day EMA potentially acting as a form of support along the way down. So that's Ethereum. You could pull a fixed range volume profile here. From this range, we have the supply and opposing change of character. So up until here, there you go. And we can see that we're like dramatically deviated away so far from the value area high. It's not a very reliable value area based on its volume behavior. 4 days and 14 hours. We'll see how it performs. We're deviated by about, how much percentage is that? It's got to be over 50. Yeah. It's over 50%. Yeah, 50% level is usually a good level to watch when you have a value area, right? At this point, you could tend to, if I back tested the crap out of this, if you'll notice when you have a good established value area from like a demand or supply zone, a change of character, like 2 opposing change characters, at that point, we tend to not usually drift past the value area by about 50%. We tend to get the best setups around those areas. Like here, for example, here, here, here. And that's where we are right now. So we'll see if we get any opposing structure coming up soon for Ethereum. So either now or at this level or at this level. Bitcoin come back down a tiny bit, nothing crazy, like a doji. Retest the highs. What do you guys want to look at next? Can this be the SFP on Bitcoin? Oh, the SFP. There was one last night. I'm not sure if you caught it. Where was it? Right here. All of our rules were met, I believe, yeah, during this SFP right here from our strategy that we built. I do want to show you guys something really quick, actually. We're on the final stage right now for automating those signals. So the community and I have been building a strategy. We might rename it, but we call it the liquidity reversion model. It's like an SFP strategy. And we got our first automated signal brought out. The only thing we got to fix is the screenshot that it takes. So, and it'll start automatically logging the win rate as well for all the future setups that it creates going forward. But yeah, we had that SFP here where all the conditions were met, and then it helped impose a bullish change character to extend your target, and it did extremely well if you took that setup. But if you're looking at it as well through here, let me pull it up. So we have, and we could get an SFP off of all the rules being met. You know, for all the rules to be met for maybe this legacy SFP, we need to come up and sweep the high and test the 2.2 VWAP deviation level. Our MFI is looking perfect for those conditions. We're above the 70 level. So either a local SFP preferably, or a sweep of this high while testing that VWAP deviation. And based on the 15-minute structure, if we don't get a pullback, our technical target would be way down here. So what I'll be watching, instead of just going crazy and assuming that target to be hit, I'll be watching the VWAP along the way. And any potential structure that we create before the SFP is confirmed. So if we get a proper pullback here of two consecutive candles, and then we SFP, then that will be my newly formed target, in hopes that it evolves into a change of character for a stronger continuation. All right. Island Man, what's up? Down. You good kitches. Thanks, bro. ZEC. Yeah, we can take a peek at ZEC. Zcash has got some relative strength, so sometimes you can get a setup on ZEC when you can't get them anywhere else. Zcash. Okay, so we got a good double bottoming effect going on here. And a local SFP. So last time we were looking at Zcash, looks like we were looking for the scenario of coming down and finding support at this demand zone. A potential SFP sweep and bounce. We did get one. It looks like we got, we're preparing for an SFP here. It closed with body instead, so it invalidated that idea. But down here, there's more liquidity resting down here. We got a good reaction, and we swept the low, and we came up, basically up to like the local low time frame supply. If I were to zoom out, you could see it a little more clearly. Yeah, this was our little low time frame internal supply. It got mitigated and then came down. And then eventually, yeah, hit our demand zone. So we can delete some of this noise. We don't really need most of it anymore. We can delete this, delete this, delete this. Delete that, and then zoom out a little bit on the daily just to make sure we're not missing anything up here. Okay, so daily momentum, can draw that up here. Now we swept these lows, right? Grabbing that liquidity can be used as fuel to help drive the price back up. Let's see. All right, so let's move this and align it with our local confluences. We got 4-hour order block here. We can mark our wick low in case we get another SFP scenario. This would be a great spot. What do we not want to have at that level though? Let's see. If we get a body close below here, yeah, it'll be enough to drive the price down to this little demand zone here. Okay. Just marking up this order block really quick. So body candle close below 361.01 on Zcash would likely lead to a drop down to 340. Okay, and zooming in, I pull a fib from this high to this low. We can see we already had a reaction off of the confluence of this little supply zone and the golden pocket. And we had an SFP that just occurred here with the technical target of this pullback right here. So if we manage to get past this VWAP, that's where we're heading right after next. We could get a break of this neckline as well. If we get a full body candle close above here, it'll give us a strong chance of a continuation for anyone who might have taken the SFP trade. This is what you want to have happen. You want to have a body close above here. And if we get a body close above here, then we can start targeting this unclaimed high right here. Well, I guess that'll be the strong high now. So mark this as a key level of interest. If we use the 5 minute, if we use the 5 minutes, we get a 5 minute candle close above here. You might still get a pullback because there is liquidity here that can be used as exit liquidity. But if we get that break of structure follow through on the 5 minute, then we're likely going to be going here next. But until then, you still want to watch this area as an area of interest for potential shorts or an exit plan on your existing longs. You could sweep these highs and start coming back down. And this is a great spot of confluence too. There are lots of little barriers for Zcash right now that need to be broken. Oh, my bad. But yeah, that's Zcash right now in the low time frames. That's what I'd be looking for, man. Like an opposing bearish change of character after, preferably after a sweep of these highs, liquidity, and then coming down and targeting any. Well, it'd be the VWAP for sure. These previous highs, you have to watch as a barrier. But if we break past that, then we can start targeting the liquidity on the downside. The uptrending momentum that you can monitor is the pace of the buyers right now. But that's Zcash. Zcash does have relative strength. It will move on around on its own, like quite often, but And still keep an eye on what Bitcoin's doing, because you would prefer to have Bitcoin's posture bound and like structural confluence alongside Zcash getting to its key levels for shorts as well. This has been mitigated, so we can delete this. This is still a key level. So now it's just about waiting for that bearish posture to define your shorts. I would not be looking for shorts if we found support here until we get up here, because acceptance to a value area normally leads to a strong continuation. Dash, ton, Sui. Let's take a look at Sui. Sui. We have a key level here that we want to have broken. Sui's just still dancing inside this area of interest. Like we marked a local area of support here based on this previous high that we're trying to test as support. We have a demand zone right here as well. A pretty decent one. Like all through here is a form of demand. Right? And we're just like testing off of those previous highs as support right now on Sui. But if we do end up getting acceptance inside of that range with a body candle close below this area, then we still have some support that could hold us up. We have an order block here, previous value area low here, and 50-day EMA here. So just because we get a candle close below here doesn't mean it's the end of Sui. We're not going to have a massive correction when we have that secondary guard for us right here. What we can do is as well to make things a little more easier to see. What we'll do is we'll mark this. There you go. Okay, so yeah, Sui. Right now, we could pull a fixed range volume profile from this supply zone here to our current price action. You can see our value area low, point of control is where we're currently at, and our value area high is right here at 183.08. So we first have to assume that our value area high is going to act as a form of resistance. Statistically, 80% of the time we range, right? So we should assume that 80% of the time we're going to get a rejection at the top of a range or a bounce at the bottom of a range until we see structural evidence telling us otherwise. And so up here, I don't like trading near the point of control unless there's really good confluence, like it being at the lower side, like tightly to the value area low, or the upper side tightly to the value area high for shorts or for longs. So I'd rather wait, even though we have decent confluence in terms of structure, we have supply here, and being at that key area of interest, I'd be cautious shorting near that point of control. If we have, like, let's say we have a pullback, take this high, and then come back down, and our neckline, which could be forming right now, if we do build a double top here, our neckline could be below the point of control. In that case, I might feel more comfortable shorting, because when we take the confirmation, then we'll have the confluence of the point of control being on our back, which will act as a guardian to our capital and our stop loss. So yeah, what we need to see structurally is just, where this is what our neckline would currently be. We have currently we have a proper pullback. We have 10 minutes left still on this candle, so a lot could still happen. But if we came up and took that high, then this would be the neckline for short bound confluence down to the value area low. But yeah, me personally I would prefer to jump in on shorts like at the value area high or at a deviation of the value area high. And if we instead get that break of structure and close above the high instead of sweep the high, then we can start targeting the supply up here. And if we can mitigate that supply, then we can start heading our way back up. We have a 15-minute order block here. We have a golden pocket here. So lots of reason to get our head hit here. But when we have that rejection, it could just be to allow us to retest these previous highs and get the higher high. So if you're thinking about using this as confluence, just know that it might be a short-lived trade depending on how we behave when we retest these levels. All right, cool. So that's SUI. Preparing for short, preferably after a bearish change of character or an SFP off these highs. Break structure past this, it would invalidate that. If we don't get up here and we end up getting a rejection here, I would prefer that you'd wait for the bearish change of character. Maybe you'll have the VWAP on your side in confluence with that. But yeah, that point of control makes me a little nervous for anyone who's thinking about entering. You got to give it more time, more posture to help dictate that we're actually going to get that correction. We can mark our order block down here as an area of interest as well, in case we come back down to that value area low. So I'll draw some pathing here. So bullish change character around here, or bearish change character here. And we just mitigated our order blocks here. We got a 5 and 15-minute one here. Might get our first 15-minute candle pullback. We got 9 minutes left on this candle. We did breach this candle's high, so we do not have the inside bar impact. What else we got here in the chat? You're trying to fix your over trading issues just by doing higher time frame trades. Do you think the clairvoyant strategy can also work in time frames like the 4-hour or the daily? Yeah, 100%, man. You can go back in time, right? The daily, obviously, and the 4-hour, obviously, are going to give you a heck of a lot less opportunities than the 15-minute time frame. See, because you need to have, in order for you to get the daily rules to be met, you need to have like a daily change character. And you can see, like, based on our like range bound activity, by the time you have like a daily confirmation, it's usually a little bit too late before you can start targeting the opposite side of the value area. So you'll have your loss of momentum rule usually met, right? That's very common, easy to identify when it comes to the daily. But by then you already have usually a lower time frame bullish change of character, and you can start targeting the opposite side of the value area. Like here for the short, or here for the, this was the bullish change of character on the daily, so you wouldn't have very much of a run here. So you tend to have to use lower time frame structure. Like the 4-hour time frame, like in the range like this. And that's also one thing, you have to depend on ranges that usually last like 15 to 30 days before you could use like a 4-hour or higher time frame structure using those rules. It normally gets you late to the party. And but yeah, that's basically, I would prefer recommending on like a 15-minute, maybe the hourly, just so you have the opportunities there. But if you're trying to like shift into a more of a passive approach to your trading, to focus more on like swing trading kind of setups, then the 4-hour and the hourly will be, the 4-hour and the daily will be okay. It's just, I'm worried that you might not get any setups. The strategy is kind of built for like the 15-minute to the hourly, but it does still work extremely well in higher time frames. And anyone who's interested in learning about that strategy, like we have like 5 different strategies inside the course, and that's like the one I've been using since like 2020, and it's got me this far. Andrew talking about Solana fighting against 144 again. Yeah, the 144 levels is insanely strong point of control on Solana. If we're fighting that zone, I would definitely prepare for shorts. I know I have my limit order filled for Solana here. I had a buy order with spot position at the bottom of this valley area here, and I set for a limit order at the valley area high and the macro point of control in this area. So it looks like we were preparing for the ASFP, right? Off this high. We talked about that during our last live. We got the SFP. It was around 9 p.m., so I missed that trade. The technical target for that 1 hour SFP is way down here. We had an hourly order block. When we came down, we barely front run it by micro penny. But that would have been a good exit plan, watching the order block. Now we're coming back up again, like Andrew said, to fight this previous point of control. So every time Solana gets here, you got to prepare for the correction. But if we get above this area, it's going to evolve how Solana behaves for the next few weeks. Because if we get past this, we're very, very, very likely to just start running up towards the valley area high at 163. We do have barriers along the way that will likely induce pullbacks. Like this point of control here, a heck of a lot weaker than the one that we're currently fighting. We have 4 hour block, point of control, supply, that will likely induce pullback, or for us to go range bound and maybe retest this area of interest again so it can act as support. But eventually we'll very likely end up coming up towards 163 if we get a breach past this area. So we need to see it act as support. But we love sweeping this area as a form of SFPs. So yeah, just gotta prepare eventually for that snare to happen again. So SFP or bearish opposing lower time frame change of character, like the 15-minute bearish change of character. Watching the VWAP as a barrier along the way down. So I would mark, we can delete this, right? We know we swept that area. We know we have a level here. We know we have a level here. But we also have a new one right here at this unclaimed high. Now we haven't taken it. If anything, we may have added more liquidity up here for a better reason to sweep this area and come down. And just see what Bitcoin's doing at that time too. Like, are we approaching a key level as well? Right? We got this level here. We got that 2-day valley area low that we're coming up to test. So if Bitcoin approaches this and gives us bearish posture, and then Solana kind of gives us the same kind of story, then you can use that pairing confluence to help jump into your short. But this is a great exit plan for anyone who might be in along. Yeah, 2 candle pullback. Just need the higher high now. And then this becomes our key level. You can go ahead and mark that area. It hasn't been confirmed as a key level yet. But we have 2 minutes, so I don't really think that this candle is going to close above this low within the next 2 minutes. If it does, then it'll invalidate this as a key area for preparing for shorts. So pathing will look like sweep, right? Either be here or here. If it's here, then it's very dependent on how the candle closes, right? Because if we sweep this area, but the candle closes above this point of control, then I'm going to be fairly hesitant of jumping into that short. I would still wait for maybe more structure, like a bearish change of character, instead of going after any sweeps. So this one will be okay because we'll very likely close below the point of control. But this one you got to be cautious about. And then the pathing on this, if we close below here, likely give us a bounce around here. And we got to watch these previous highs as well as support. But overall, I'll be targeting here for a reversal. All right, that's Solana. Will Solana break $144? I can't pretend I can see the future, man. I can tell you how to react to certain key levels. And I can tell you probability of us breaking through it depending on the posture of the liquidity. But the posture of liquidity right now, just by looking at like just the local price action, it does suggest that this could be used as sell side liquidity to bring us back down, right? We did just have this pump, right? Coming into here, we did have some healthy pullbacks around here. But you can see, like, based on the order flow coming up, that we are pretty likely to come up and sweep this to start coming after liquidity down from below. I warned everyone, like, if we got acceptance into this area, we'll start behaving the same way we did before the past. And this is a very strong level of resistance, so this could induce us to stay in this range for as long as we were in here last time. And that was about 30 days, right? That was, yeah, 33 days. And so far we've been in it for about, since the moment we got acceptance, about 8 days. So that, about a third of the time. When you either A, have the candle body close above those previous wick levels, we can start coming up to 146. Close above here, we can start coming up to 150. All right, we got the proper pullbacks. Now we just need the higher high. We take the higher high, whether it be a local SFP or a legacy sweep. Either way, if you don't want to take the SFP setup, if you're not familiar with it or you don't know where to put your stop loss, then wait for the bearish change of character and then use the strong high as your stop loss guard and start targeting down here while being very mindful of that point control. I mean the VWAP there potentially acting as a barrier. What else we got in the chat? Bonk. I haven't looked at Bonk in a while. I think we might even have a Bonk chart. We don't. Okay. We can take a look at Bonk. I know it's on the Solana network. Let's see. On the Binance chart. Let's go to the daily. We can see that we're above the 50-day EMA. Very altcoiny kind of crap. Sprint to the 50-day and try to use it as support, then go after the 200. If we had a supply zone here, we mostly mitigated it. This whole area of interest here. We had a daily order block here that we mitigated. So we're kind of basically coming up to retest right now these previous highs as support alongside with the confluence of the 50-day EMA. So this is an area that you would actually prepare for potential longs off of to start targeting the unclaimed high. So what we'll do is we'll mark our key areas of interest right now on the daily. Yeah, it's been a while since we looked at Bonk. Right here, we're looking for the SFP sweep. Looks like we got it. And then that's pretty much the last like major short. Let's delete this stuff. All right, so this is Bonk's like broad momentum here from the all-time high to like a lower high test here after the sweep. So we can watch this as a key area of interest in the order books to see if there's large amount of sell orders if we do return to these highs. But we can see that the pace of the sellers has sped up. So we have faster pace momentum, especially after losing the uptrending momentum here. We had that October 10th flash crash, helped drive the price down as well. And we finally broke bullish on the daily during, we got the lower low here, so it'll be during this moment. That's when we flip bullish on the daily. And we had an aggressive reaction ever since. I'll zoom in on the lower time frame. So this is the, let's go to the hourly. Yeah, the momentum's a little awkward here. We're starting to flip bullish. During this moment, we got the bullish change of character. We came down and got the SFP, so it's still technically bullish. So we delete that noise. We don't have any notable demand structurally through this other than right here and what we see here. So we're kind of front running that using those previous highs that we spoke about on the daily and that 50-day EMA. Now right now, because of the SFP that just occurred, it is targeting the most proper, the most recent proper pullback was here. So it's on its way to target this high because of this SFP sweep. That's the technical target. The technical target would have been much, much closer. It would have been this high if we had 2 consecutive candles in here, but we don't, right? So this is the technical target. If I were taking this SFP myself, I'll be really cautious around this VWAP, but it looks like we're breaking past it. Go to the 15-minute time frame. The 15-minute posing bearish change character. So initially we would prepare for shorts here, but if we instead find support above this high, we can start slowly coming up towards the unclaimed high up here. Watch the 30-minute order block along the way. Downtrending momentum depending on the pace of the pump. Right here. So this is our key level for the more macro-based move. But internally, I'll be looking for shorts right now, depending on how we behave around here. We are tapping into the supply right here with this wick. So we can prepare for an SFP reaction. But yeah, overall, this would be a good spot for a great R&R to start targeting the previous lows. Because overall, we're still technically in a downtrend. Internally, we're bullish, but I'll be preparing to be bearish around here. And go back to Bitcoin, see how you're doing. Still chugging along at the supply and 15-minute order block here. We didn't take that high. Start to build divergence. So it's slowly becoming more and more bearish right now. Kyle, speaking of Bonk, have you ever used Bonk Bot? Is it a thing? I have Solana phone. I don't really know what to do with it because I'm not 12 years. I can take a look. yeah, I can take a look after the stream, see what it's about. But no, I have not used it. Not. I usually tend to avoid bots. I've had a bad experience with them. They're tough to control. Like I know I say that hypocritically because I'm building one right now, but like, yeah, I'm gonna have I have a switch for my bot where it asks me a question if I want to take the trade every time it happens, like every time the conditions are met. So I monitor every single setup. So that's the main difference with the ones I've got. It's not very passive. In fact, it's kind of the opposite. You're auditing every setup that it wants to take. I prefer it that way though, because it allows you to see things that a bot sometimes misses. Because you only can have mechanical based rules for a bot. If they're dynamic, then you're using AI. And if they're dynamic, then you can't be consistent. If they're not, you can't be consistent, and that can really screw up your idea of knowing how profitable it can be long term. But mechanical based rules, you know exactly where you're likely going to be at long term, because you can backtest the crap out of those and get yourself a projection of like how many trades are on average you're going to get per week or per month, or what's your average R&R per setup, how long do your trades normally last. But with dynamic rules, like with AI, if you're using any AI bots out there, then you will not know that kind of consistency. Like you have no idea. That's the one thing I'm worried about when it comes to like the AI bots is, are you going to train them to be mechanical, or are you going to train them to be more human-like? If they're more human-like, then yeah, it's really tough to know how consistent it's going to be. Okay. It looks like we're starting to lose momentum a bit here. I'll see. Build a bearish order block, which is a warning sign that there could be institutional participants. Especially after sweeping this high. If we come down, then we have a 10-minute order block here, and the previous value area high here that can act as a form of support. I don't like the structure. We don't have a proper pullback within this, at least not in the 5-minute. 3-minute we do. We have a proper pullback, but we didn't take the high. So this would be a bearish flip if we close below here, not a bearish change of character. We're closing in 6 seconds. 3, 2, 1. All right, bearish flip. No bearish change of character. If we took this high first, then we'd have a bearish change of character. And that's coming down to mitigate that order block. And here's where I expect potential support bounce. Alrighty. What do you guys want to look at next? You're thinking we're going to come down to the 70 to 75K level before the bullish year. That would be intense. Yeah. On-chain metrics do suggest there's a lot more new investors coming in. Supply, let's take a look at the supply and profit here. Refresh this chart. Because it's been crazy how much the on-chain analytics has been evolving. Here we go. So this is the percentage of supply and profit. So where we currently are, we're pretty high on the board, but this isn't the sole reason for like preparing for tops here, guys. So I wouldn't be too concerned about our positioning. But here we had reached around 99% in the profit. The last time we were there was at 123K, right? So a large majority of holders were in a profit around that area. Then like during the October 10th crash, we had a bunch of people accumulate and buy into that, likely in the form of limit orders that they left in place, and a bunch of people accumulate during that moment. But we're right now, our supply in a profit is currently at like 70%, which sounds like a lot, but it's the lowest that we've had it be at since, let's see, this recent low here at 56K. And our price point now is at like 90K. So it's showing you how much the funds have been tossed into new hands, right? And most of those hands are institutional hands, people that hold for a very long time, right? They tend to use their assets as collateral instead of selling it like most of retail usually does. And a lot of retail left during that massive falling wedge that we had from like February to April in 2025. But yeah, it's just the lowest supply. The supply has been a profit. Basically, if we think about these lows when we're at like 80 some K, it's been years since Bitcoin was at like 26K in October 2023. So our macro conditions are really good and set up for a big pump coming up soon. And if we do come down to like the 70, 75K level, we'd be at a state of capitulation. Like we'd be, capitulation will start around like 65K, I believe. 70 to 60, yeah, 65 to 70K. And that's when we'd be down here in the opportunity zone where we haven't been down there since like 16K. So if we do come down there one last time, it would be a lot like the bottom conditions of a bear market before having a big rally. So I'm not opposed to the idea of us going down that low because it'll just mean a huge opportunity for everybody. But as a maxi, as a holder, I prefer we didn't. I don't want to go down there. All right, we're getting our bounce off the block here. Let's see how we respond. The Asian guy with the highest IQ in the world sold everything and just bought Bitcoin because he said it would go another 100x. 100x? No. You got to think about the amount of money that it would take for Bitcoin to be able to go 100x. As much as I'd love for it to do that, I would say a 10x is possible from here in like 10 years. Right? But I don't think that 100x is possible based on the global liquidity, like the amount of funds the entire planet have. If we put it all into Bitcoin, I don't even know if we'd 100x from that. And some price tags just don't make sense. I think if you're going to be following someone's like an influencer, someone who's really big with their targeting, the most grounded person that I know is Michael Saylor. Like his technical target for the 2025 was like 150K, and he was like the closest, most grounded person that I saw with like a high target like that. And I was targeting 150 to 160K as well. Not for 2025, but for the cycle. And based on the on-chain data here, we start getting overheated on the Nupal chart around 160K right now. So when we get there, we'll find out if we get a rejection around 160 again. But yeah, slowly chugging along. We lost momentum. We got 2 candle pullback. If we get the lower low, then we're going to be heading right down to here. We could pull back towards the internal retracement golden pocket, or we can get the higher high and then start watching for short to round here again at 92.5. Brian, what's up, man? If you guys want to check out another YouTube channel, I'd recommend checking out Real Talk Trading. He's a coach inside our community. He does Monday calls, going over the weekly structure so you can prepare for the week. Dissects things from top down like I do for setups. Let me pull it up on here. Oops, I just moved my frame here, sorry. Real Talk Trading. Yeah, this guy. Yeah, check him out, guys. Mostly does lives. If you want to check him out, he's really good with I find that you've been trading a lot more with Cardano. Kind of picking on Cardano. We call him Bearish Brian because he usually looks for our shorts all the time. Hey Kyle, can you take a look at Jasmy? Let's take a peek at Jasmy. Jasmy had a great run recently. I know what my chart says I haven't looked at since August 21st, but I took a peek at it on my primary layout. We got, so yeah, this is the run I was talking about here. It came down to our Prius Valley area high right here. Got a break of downtrending momentum right here, right? And had our bullish change of character right here. And once we got that bullish change of character, we pumped from the low to the high was 80%. From the change of character, where you're more likely to get in, unless you got in during the sweep of the low, is about a 50% move. That's intense. So similar to the other altcoin that we were just looking at, had that massive rush, broke the 50-day EMA. We could come down. The thing that's different about Jasmy versus, I think it was it? I don't remember which alt it was, but yeah, the other one was testing its previous highs, where Jasmy is trying to get acceptance into this Prius Valley area right here. And I can pull a fixed range following profile so you can see from here to here. You delete some of this noise. Pull a fixed range from here as well. This is the hourly time frame. This is our uptrending momentum that we're starting to lose right now. Our downtrend momentum. So we had like an apex point between the pace of the sellers and the pace of the buyers, and the sellers are kind of taking over. We are still in a great position to prepare for longs, like being at a valley area low. But the conditions are kind of being adjusted. So we're starting to take all the liquidity from below, stacking more above us. What we need to see right now, our key level is way up here on the hourly. It's way too high. So we need to see a low taken to evolve our chalk level to here. And that would be great confluence if we can see, maybe us closing above that point of control simultaneously. This is kind of what I meant by like a low side POC if you're trying to use it as confluence for entries, because normally you would want to stay away from entering around the point of control. But it all depends on its positioning. This isn't picture perfect. I prefer it to be a little bit lower, like around here. But if your neckline is that close, you normally would want to wait for a close above the point of control and not try to take the entry right at the point of control, because it can bring the price right back down as a form of resistance. But yeah, overall, looking for longs. These are off the sweep. And then prepare for shorts up here again. You can use previous valley area data to help you out. We have a node of interest here. Actually, this should be marked as resistance right now. Value area low. And our point of control. And our value area high. Find the age. 36 days. Like notating the date, the days and stuff like this will help you be more organized with knowing what levels are coming from where and the strength behind it. Usually the more time, the more strength. Right? And right now we're struggling against that point control. Right? We can see that we have a more clear vision as to why we're struggling here, right? It's that point control. We tend to move quickly from the value area low to that point control, right? Based on this volume gap. And it'll be the same answer if we get above that point control. It'll be a relatively quick paced move to the value area high. Right now it is being undercut or front run by the 200-day EMA. So if we do manage to get past this point control, we'd have to watch this as a next barrier around 0.01106. Well, that's Jasmine. I hope that helps you out. There we go. That pullback, lower low, break of structure. Everything's internal right now. It's internal to this high and this low. And we're coming down to our area here. I would prepare for a bounce around this zone. So if you took a short off my words based on what I said here, just be aware that this is a area of interest for potential bounce. We had the 50-day EMA right here. We had the 50-day value area high here. And the VWAP's starting to catch up. So if we deviate a little bit below this, we could get a bounce off that VWAP. Okay, that's Bitcoin. What else we got left in the chat? Tell them Cardano sucks. Yeah, anyone who's into Solana is going to tell you that Cardano is a giant pile of crap, right? Wouldn't a retest of the 2021 all-time high around 73K be technically healthy to confirm it has new support? Yeah, so what you mean by that is this valley area here. Yeah, so testing this would be, it could be healthy, yes. But that, like I said before, is very close to meeting all the bear market conditions. So that's why what I mean by that is bear market bottom conditions, not that we're going to be in a bear market, that we're kind of, the data with on-chain analytics aligns with this being a bottom, similar to how this was a bottom down here. Like on-chain data is looking almost identical to this moment, even though we're way up here now. That's assuming we take the low. We don't have to go down that low. But it's definitely a good thing to mentally prepare for. Especially if anyone here DCAs instead of using a stop loss. Holy crap. You can get slaughtered in an event like that. All right, we're getting in our little internal demand zone here. Let's see if we get that bounce. Prepare for that move. What we have in the chat. Jasmine hit the 76 with the 4-hour market structure. Nice. With 1-hour change, retest. Could be a decent drop ahead, though. She's a good girl. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. All right, guys. Well, I gotta go. I got a couple of things I need to finish building for the community. I'm in a power work week for stuff I'm working in the background for you guys, so I can get ready for our new schedule on the 19th. For anyone who's not aware, on the 19th, we'll be doing YouTube lives every day at 10:30 instead of every other day at 11. And we'll be doing trade hunting calls Tuesday to Friday. So on Mondays is actually my lowest win rate day, based on like what my journal says at least. So I kind of leaving Monday to Brian to get you guys all ready for the week, getting the market structure bias ready, getting your confluences ready for what to prepare for the week, and then we can start trading together on Tuesday to Friday. Yeah, I'm pumped. And yeah, and we'll have a bunch of new stuff ready too by then, like the automated signals, which I think today is actually the day we could release this, because we fixed the last little bug we had with it, which was the screenshot error. But the rest of it's working fine. So I'll get this released for you guys today. There will be a tutorial video tomorrow, but right now we have a tutorial screenshot just showing you how the rules work. And anyone who was with me when we built the strategy will automatically know how it all works. But now you don't have to like, once you get your alert set up for this, you don't have to like stare at your chart as much. You just wait for those pings, and then you can look at the chart instead of like staring at the chart at that, you know what I mean, until that moment. All right, guys, you have a great day. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for sharing. We're starting to grow. Goal this year, 25,000 subscribers. I think we can do it, but I'll definitely need your guys' help. So I'd share to your friends or family, anyone who wants to learn how to trade. I'm here for you guys to like answer any questions you guys might have, look at any assets you might want to request for me, and we can crush the market together. All right, guys. I'll see you soon. Again, prepare for a potential bounce reaction here. We got the VWAP, 50-day EMA, and 50-day value area high. What you'd look for is that bullish change of character off of this to warn you to get out of any potential short that you might have gotten on during this flip and loss of momentum. And you can, from there, you can potentially target the unclaimed highs. All right, guys. You have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Alex Crypto asking for help. I'll send you a message, bro. All right, cool. 25K. Yeah, man. That's our goal. All right, man. I'll see you in the DMs.